Welcome to Mentality Meets. My name is Peter Larkum, and I created Mentality during the summer of 2019, which feels like a very long time ago, with everything that we've got going on. But I just wanted to introduce you and, introduce myself and welcome you to Mentality Meets. Mentality Meets is all about meeting other people with lived experience of mental health illnesses and just gleaning some information from people who have been through mental health illnesses and who have come out the other side, and just to try and find some of the patterns and some of the tools that they have used to help them get through. So we're about to get started on this call. We've got a number of people already waiting, so I will start introducing people now. Oh, I need to unmute Angela. So, Angela, hi. Are you there? You're there.
I'm here.
Welcome and thank you. So this is Mentality Meets. And the idea of this is that I'm Peter Larkum, nice to meet you. And last summer, I created a mental health training course called Mentality. And the idea of Mentality is, I personally believe that everybody in the world needs to have a base knowledge of mental health. And I've been delivering mental health training now for well over 10 years. I've been involved with emotional literacy now since 1997, and so I've been involved in this field of work for a really long time. And as the trainer at the front of the room, I have constantly asked myself, what about everybody else? What about the other people who aren't receiving the training? What about their mental health? And so that's what led me to create Mentality. And you can access Mentality at www.mentality.work, and I don't want this to be an advert on that, but it is about having something available that's for anyone and everyone. Because in the world that we live in at the moment, which is changing so quickly, I feel like we all need to know what our normal level of weird is, because none of us are normal. And this whole world is no longer normal. And we need to also understand that our mental health shifts and changes, and in the environment that we are in, we also need to know what is okay and how we manage to support people as well. So if you've just joined us, welcome, thanks for joining us. And you can put a little chat, so find your little chat button at the bottom of your screen and just type in, hi, what's your name and where are you from, just as I can say hi to some other people. Because we're now on 2 pages worth of people. So hi, thanks for joining us. So my last message in is Emily from Scarborough. Hi, Emily, and Jay in London. Hardeep, I think I've already said hi to you. We've got Nick Howes in Leatherhead, Manj in Stafford, or someone else in somewhere else. Oh, you're going too quickly. Viv in Hagley, someone else in Birmingham. Okay, brilliant. We have people from all over. So, at this point, I just want to invite Angela to say hi. So, Angela Samata, welcome to Mentality Meets. Can I ask you just to introduce yourself and give us a little bit of knowledge about who you are?
I always hate this bit. I never know what to say. God. So my name is Angela Samata, and I have worked around mental health for about 16 years now. I also work in the arts. And I'm just obviously very, very interested in kind of in mental health, in what we're doing, in things that can help, things that definitely don't help. So I presented the BBC1 documentary Life After Suicide, and that was back in 2015. That was first shown. And it was amazing to see a film like that about my personal experience of being bereaved, but going around the country meeting lots of other people and hearing about their lived experience. It was amazing to see that kind of rocket, and I worked with a brilliant team, and that got nominated to BAFTA, which was amazing to see a documentary about mental health and suicide being going to BAFTA. So we were in the same category as Louis Theroux, and Louis didn't win, neither did I, but it kind of felt okay, even being in the same category, even being in the same room. And then I've gone on to do lots of other things with people with lived experience, and I have worked with lots of you, actually. I'm seeing lots of faces that I recognise. Hi Jan, hi Pete. And I also co-authored the Zero Suicide Alliance training as well. So yeah, yeah, so that's my experience.
Amazing, thank you. And so what I'm going to do as we go through this time together is I'm going to be asking Angela some questions and just getting some thoughts from her, and also just kind of sharing some other thoughts around this. Now, what I love about the idea of using Zoom is so as we can see you, so as you can see us, and have a little bit of that connection while we are socially distancing ourselves.
It's amazing. I've never done one of these with so many people. It's just absolutely beautiful to see everyone. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in.
It is awesome. So what I'm going to do, because I forgot about questions, I did one on Monday and totally forgot to ask questions at the end. So I'm going to ask a question now that I'd like you to have a think about and answer, which is, in this social isolation process, what are you doing that is helping you on a day-by-day basis? So whether it's something about a routine or whether it's about just getting out and enjoying the weather or whatever it is, give us one top tip from you of what you are doing to help you at this time. And what I'll do is I'll read through those as Angela and I chat. So if you can, have a think and get involved on your chat messages. And then we're going to try and leave about 10 minutes at the end for any questions that you have. So also, if you want to write a question, can you just start it with QU and then your question, so as I can pick those out quite quickly in the chat bar, and then I can come directly to those and we can ask those questions at the end. Okay. So brilliant. Also, welcome to the ground rules of a session like this. Angela and I are going to be talking about mental health, which is an interesting topic. Mm-hmm. We have no idea about you. We have no idea about your history. We have no idea how you are today. If any of the stuff that we talk about becomes a little bit more vulnerable than you're expecting, firstly, can I ask you to let me know somehow through the chat? But also, if you just need to take a break, please do take a break. Look after yourselves as we talk about this, because I want us to be honest and real with these conversations, but I also don't want you guys to feel too vulnerable as we go through this. So Angela, that was my question to everyone else, was what are you doing to help you in this process? What are you doing? What have you done today to help you in this current time?
God, it is just the most surreal of times, isn't it? It's the strangest thing. So I think for me, I'm doing lots of baking because I discovered that I had an oven last year, and I was really close to burning out last year. It was Christmas and I was really tired, and I've been working too much, and I've been definitely talking too much. And I've been doing a lot of filming and a lot of different things. And it was actually my brother-in-law who said to me, you need to do something. So he taught me how to make sourdough. So I've been baking sourdough for a year. And this morning I challenged myself to make croissant. They are like the hardest thing to make from scratch. So just before I came online, I took 24 croissants out of the oven. Some are a bit browner than others. But again, for me, it was like just about challenging myself to do kind of all the things that I've never had time to do, you know. So I'll put a picture of the croissant on my Twitter later. But, you know, for me, it's just about trying to use the time as productively as possible, but also having like some downtime as well. So not all about goal setting. Sometimes it's about, you know, now and again goal setting, but lots of the time it's about kind of reading and, you know, doing things that I just haven't had time to do, to be honest.
No, brilliant. So some of the messages that are coming in: dancing around the living room. I like that idea.
All about dancing.
Getting up at the same time and going for a cycle.
Yes,
great one.
I think the other thing for me as well is that getting dressed is really important. So when we were first put on lockdown, I was like, yeah, PJs and onesie, you know, every day. But you know, I found really, really quickly, and it's something that I knew was going to help me because it's helped me through other tricky times before, is actually getting up, having a shower and getting dressed is actually really, really important. Or just changing the way, changes the way that you feel about the rest of the day. So for me, it's really important.
In line with that, Marsha's I put lipstick on today. Not me. Marsha put lipstick on today. Another person said they are learning to play the guitar. which I think is a great idea, trying to pick up a new hobby.
We're going to have
Walking the
mentality
dog, sitting in the garden in the sun and doing
yeah.
work calls and just getting some natural sunlight. My wife and I have 3 small boys. I've got a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And every day we've decided to just walk up our road and go and look at one bud on a tree. And we're taking a photo every single day. Because I think for me and for my wife, we're saying we've never actually watched spring happen.
No.
It just happens around us. And so what we've tried to do is be really purposeful about getting out the house and just walking up the road and just watching this one bud, which I'm hoping is going to bloom and not get eaten by a bird, because otherwise that would be really...
That's a lot of pressure to put on.
But just watch it and be really purposeful about that.
I think those, for me, those mindfulness, I mean, because that's what you're talking about, really, those mindfulness kind of techniques and those things are, again, things that have definitely helped me through tricky times before. Yeah. I think the thing for me was that when this happened, when it started to happen, my diary was completely decimated. So I was meant to be filming the Thursday after we got, after this kind of broke, that was stopped. All of the TV and media stuff has just completely and utterly stopped. All of any training that I was involved with has completely stopped. And so for me, it felt I felt completely out of control of the situation, because decisions were obviously important, life-saving decisions were being made, but I felt as if I was not in control of any of it. Yeah. So for me, it was really important to think about a different time in my life when I didn't feel as if I was in control of that either. In fact, I very much wasn't in control of it when my partner died. But for me, it was really important to remember not only what that loss of control felt like and how uncomfortable it made me feel, but also the positive things that actually helped me during that time. Yeah. And to kind of reach, although it's on a completely different scale, obviously this is like a global pandemic, when our family and our friends went through the trauma of losing Mark, it was very different. But for me personally, I don't know what you feel, Peter, as a mental health professional, but without really realizing it, I've kind of dipped back into those coping mechanisms, and I think it's been really helpful to me. So those things that I knew about, goal setting and getting dressed and all those really simple things for me, I felt myself kind of dipping back into them. But because when everything stopped, I felt like it made me face a few uncomfortable truths. Let's put it that way.
I think one thing which I'm becoming more aware of is kind of viewing COVID-19 as a little bit of a traumatic life experience. Yeah. I mean, when I do a training, I talk about a car accident being a traumatic life experience. But I think what we're going through is traumatic. I mean, I'm not on the front line, so I'm not seeing any of that trauma. But the feelings that I am having, can be associated alongside trauma. And what I mean by that is, I am more anxious than normal. I feel more out of control. I feel like there is so much that I need to do. And I find myself waking up. So I think it was yesterday, I either was waking up or going to sleep. I did a conversation like this with Joe. But I had another one of these where I woke up and suddenly found myself in an argument with my boss when I worked in a bank back in 2003, and how easy it is for the uncertainty of a time like this, taking us back to situations where we felt the same, where we felt out of control, where we felt like that. And I think kind of for your level of trauma and what you went through as a family, being able to draw on those resources of how you coped then, enable you to cope now. I think that's really vital, and not to lose that.
I think the thing was, it wasn't a deliberate act either. It was kind of, for me, I feel in control of what's happening in my house. I don't really feel in control of anything else at the moment. And I think, again, it's just quite disturbing and very, very unsettling. But I think without even realizing it, I kind of started to link back into those things with, without it being a deliberate, okay, this is how I felt then and this is what I'm going to do now. It was very much a kind of a natural a natural process, really. But I think the feelings around loss of control and just loss in general actually have been quite difficult for me to kind of process, really. Uncomfortably, I've kind of realized how much of my identity and how much of my self-worth I actually get from work, which is probably very similar to lots of you, actually, but I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that.
Because I think there's kind of two there's two sides of that, isn't there? There's for me and for you, having working freelance and our work being going out and meeting people. We've suddenly been presented with a no work situation and everything's stopping, where there are a lot of people who have simply just moved their work from the office to home, still expected to be doing the work, but suddenly in an environment where work is really not conducive. When I do have admin days, I deliberately don't work from home because I have three small children, and working from home is not a thing for me.
We're building up to the queue where one of your children is going to kind of crawl into the room and your wife is going to kind of drag them out backwards.
So they have gate crashed a couple of my meetings already, and some of you have experienced that. But this is just it. And I was talking to some of my friends who have similar age kids to us, and they said we both work.
Yeah.
And we're both expected to still be working while trying to homeschool and trying to parent, and
huge amount of pressure.
And I put a message out or post out on LinkedIn the other day at 8:00 in the evening, deliberately to say, is anyone still working?
Yeah.
Because they are being forced to work into the evenings. And then it's about, how do I shut down? So as I can still be in a healthy place when I go to sleep and not still buzzing around in my work head and all of that. So that's a question out again to you guys to answer. How are you getting on with working in the evenings? And how are you shutting down? How are you getting your brain out of work so as you can get your brain to relax and go to sleep? Because I know that if I close my computer and then go to bed, my brain is still whizzing for about 2 hours.
There was an artist called Ryan Gander who I just adore, and it made me laugh because on his Instagram the other day, I saw on his Instagram he'd made his kids get up at the same time that they get up to go to school. He got them to put their school uniforms on, and they had like an early finish. But actually it was amazing, the shift in mentality of the kids, because they fully expected to do schoolwork because they had their uniform on. And I think it's exactly the same for us as well. It's almost like that's the cue, that lets you know that actually that's what you're going to do now. You're going to do work. So it's so strange to be at home and still having to like slot into that kind of work mode, Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I so want to keep talking, and I'm aware that kind of time is ticking away on us without even realizing. But I want to just kind of pick up on some of this. So I'm scrolling through. So Shishil, and I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, says we've got a 3-year-old and 8-month-old twins. So it's super hard for us to keep the balance between work and childcare. Keeping a 3-year-old entertained is destroying the work-life balance. Because I'm having to always be on, and I totally hear that and get that. My 2-year-old just doesn't understand it, and my 4-year-old just wants to play Lego all day. And Catherine says I start early as my kids are older, but I wear a skirt and then kind of dress down towards the end of the day just to give her a little bit of a mental health shift just in what she's wearing, and I think that's great. It's not easy listening to adult sleep stories to help me go to sleep. So other people talking about their sleep.
But I think what's gorgeous though, and I've seen this like a lot certainly on my Twitter, is just people being really nice to each other, and kind of just reaching out and saying, actually, I'm really struggling with a 3-year-old and 8-month-old twins or whatever. anyone got any ideas, you know? And I think there's been, certainly my timeline looks like a beautiful utopia of kindness at the moment, you know, and I'm really, really enjoying that. And people like finding different ways to stay in touch, people actually being nice to each other, people, you know, I've had more conversations with all of my neighbours in the last 48 hours than I have in the 12 years that I've lived here, you know. And some of that is my fault, you know, some of that is because we're all busy and we don't see each other, we leave at different times in the morning or whatever. But now people are around, you know. It's I don't know, I hope in a way that that's the collective learning from this, is that actually just to value each other a bit more, and to find different ways like this, you know, whether I'm looking at you all just higher, but you know, things like this are just gorgeous, to actually just get together at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and have a coffee and have a conversation, you know. It's not something that I would have ever had time to do before. So I just think it's I think we can learn so much from each other, but I do love the level of altruism that there is at the moment, you know.
Yes, and Rakesh put Joe Wick's 9 a.m. PE is really helping kickstart the little ones. I've been involved with that as well, and you know what? It kickstarts me. My gosh, I am very aware that my kids are an awful lot fitter than I am. Embarrassing, but very true.
My kids are older now. My kids are 30 and 19. So I think if I tried to get them up in the morning to do Joe Wicks, I think I would be on hiding to nothing. So
amazing. So we've got about 7 minutes before the end of this session together, and I just want to again put it out to you. Are there any questions that you have? And it could be questions about what do we do? It could be questions about anything mental health related. It could just be life questions if you would really like.
Yeah.
And Angela and I have been talking. So because Angela has an amazing story about how she has journeyed through the suicide of her husband, we're going to do more sessions. And these sessions, mentality meet sessions, are every Monday at 11 o'clock till 11:30, and every Thursday 3 o'clock till 3:30. And I'm talking with Angela's part of a collective called Speakers Collective.
Yeah.
And these
and
are
Marsha, and there's a few of the people on here that are part of it.
And I'm going to be chatting with them every Monday and every Thursday up until Mental Health Awareness Week, which is the 18th to the 22nd of May, where we're then going to do panels, and we're going to have specific questions panels for around different topics during Mental Health Awareness Week, and we're still trying to figure all that out, but we'll get there. So a quick question from Kathy. Do you have isolation strategies for yourself, separate to your partner and little ones? Angela, do you have any kind of separation, isolation ideas?
So I am really, really lucky that I have a home office, and that very much is like my space. So nobody comes in here unless they're invited. So I think that for me is definitely a massive strategy, because I have never, I think this time actually, in all seriousness, is going to put a massive strain on people's relationships. You know, I don't think I've spent so much time with my partner like ever, because usually I'm off working or around the country, or you know, wherever I am in the world. But this is, I mean, I think respecting each other's boundaries is absolutely key, because it's just so strange to be forced together for such a lot of the day, and kind of be having the same experiences all the time. So it's not like, how was your day? Oh, how was your day? Because our days are the same. So I think for me, physically having a space, I heard it the other day that somebody has like an escape room, and the escape room doesn't have to be another room in your house. It can be an escape like chair. So if you sit in that chair, they know to just leave you alone, and you just need some alone time, and you just need to be not, you know, left to just have a little bit of space. Or even the stairs, you know, if somebody goes out and sits on the stairs, that means that like actually they just need a bit of space, because I think we're all under massive amounts of pressure to keep everything perfect all of the time. And I don't know, I remember having babies, and that's kind of impossible.
My wife said that she needed to get some medicine from the local pharmacy, and ended up being in the queue for an hour. So that was quite a good isolation strategy, to go for a walk to the chemist just to buy some toothpaste or something. Have an excuse.
I think it might be
stand in the queue, be on your own, take a book,
I think it might be a strategy by government, actually. You know, this thing where one trolley, one person going into the supermarkets now. I think that's just to give us a bit of time on our own, because
Yeah. So
there's quite a lot of us aren't getting any alone time right now.
Another couple of questions. So how can you help others that are really struggling, concerned about a colleague who's struggling more than average with being in the same environment day after day? There, so we talk about kind of having a routine, but also about having a difference of routine.
Yeah.
And I think one of the best things you can do at the moment when you're supporting someone is face-to-face contact like this.
Yeah.
Try and organize a conversation, but also be aware of your own mental health journey, because sometimes we're not the right person to have that face-to-face call with. So try and find a little network. Ask them if there's anyone that they would be willing to talk to at this time. Try and find maybe 5 people, 3 or 5 people who can call throughout the week. So as it's not just left to you.
I think also, Peter, just to say, no, it's okay, just to say actually, to ask people whether they want face-to-face phone calls or just like a regular phone call, because actually I think the pressure on people's houses to look perfect right now is massive. So I think just asking people, how do you want to be contacted, or even just setting up like a WhatsApp group, or just having a WhatsApp is kind of, can be brilliant actually. And actually making an arrangement to ring someone at the same time every day, just for a few days, actually can be great as well.
Yes. And James has put, what do you think are the next priorities to move mental health / illness forward? And that's a great question. I think personally, if I were to catastrophize a little bit, I think we may find that we're struggling a little bit more in a week or two when we've got this honeymoon period, because I don't know about you, but it's like, oh, this is all still quite new.
But you agree though, Peter, like the stuff that people, you and I and lots of other people here have been saying for a long time, is that link between physical and mental health is absolutely paramount to us all, our own health and well-being. And it feels as if that conversation has just massively ramped up now, because people are really, really getting to grips with that concept now, you know. So again, it feels as if we make sure that enough things are in place, it feels like people are quite empowered at the moment to kind of to do things themselves and to be proactive in that. And I just wanted to mention the Hub of Hope as well, which is a free thing that we use, which can actually, you can put your postcode into the Hub of Hope. You put your postcode in, it tells you what's around you, but also every service on there is all have phone numbers as well. So just, you know, you can have a look at the Hub of Hope and see what's around you and see what you can link in with. And if you've got somebody you're worried about at the other end of the country, you can actually use their postcode to actually have a look what's around them and actually phone them up and say, actually, there's this service that you might be able to phone, or you might be able to FaceTime. So again, it's just thinking about ways that we can stay connected, because I think we've all got people around the world and around the country that we're really worried about, that we can't physically get close to at the moment.
No, absolutely. Are there any other questions out there from anyone? We've just got another minute or so. So we're kind of at 3:30, but we've got another couple of minutes left on the timer. So if anyone does have any other questions, do share.
Yeah. And how are you,
I did a practice one with this, Angela, with my family, because I'm aware that I only wanted this to be about half an hour. With a bit of time in lieu, just to get things going. But I did a call with my family, so I've kept with the free Zoom option because I'm a cheapskate. And at 40 minutes, it literally shuts everything down.
Really?
So there won't be time to say goodbye if I don't time it right. But any other questions? So Marsha's just saying, I had some therapy back in 2001 that changed my life, and that this time like this, where we are just chatting in a group, feels very much the same and is very needed. So thanks for that, Marsha. And Raki says, how can we cope if family aren't well and we can't help? And I don't know, Raki, whether that's mental health unwell or just health unwell. And with mental health, it's so difficult when it's a loved one and someone that you're living with who's struggling with their mental health. I think the best thing that we can do is just be with people. Allow allow the raw emotions, which sounds really easy to say, but really difficult to live in. Allow them to talk if they want to. But I would also say find support for yourself.
Yeah.
So just to kind of throw out some support ideas, okay? Support that's out there. So if you work in a company, which is a fairly big company, you'll have something called an Employee Assistance Program, an EAP. Through the EAP, you can access counselling. You can access counselling within approximately 2 weeks, okay? This is the quickest way of accessing counselling in the UK at the moment. Okay. Externally, if you don't have an employee assistance program, you have the IAPT, which is the improved access to psychological therapies. And you need to Google IAPT and your local area. Okay. If you are really struggling and desperate to talk with someone, the Samaritans is amazing. Okay. And you can call the Samaritans, again, totally free, on 116 123. Okay. So 116 123. There's also now an app out there called Shout, which is the first 24/7 text service available. And if you text Shout to 85258, I have to try and visualize it in my head, 85258, then someone will text you back and get back in contact with you to be able to talk to you about your mental health. So Employee Assistance Program, or the IAPT for counselling, the Samaritans on 116123, and text Shout to 85258. If you want to know more about your own mental health journey and your own level of weird, Mentality is a fantastic resource that's out there and available as well. And that's mentality.work. So www.mentality.work if you would like. But I think when we are talking about family, it's really hard. Sorry, Angela.
You need to get busy on Twitter. You're not using your Twitter.
I'm not.
You're on LinkedIn, aren't you? And Instagram.
LinkedIn.
Yeah,
LinkedIn
you need to get...
and also, if you're trying to figure out how to homeschool and how to work from home, my brother has 9 kids. I know. He has just done some videos helping people just explore how to create routine and structure and chores and everything else. So he's actually been homeschooling and working from home for the last 13 years. So this isn't a new thing for him. And he's put some videos out. Again, that's on my LinkedIn feed if you want to try and find a video. And I'm posting out another one, I think, tomorrow morning.
Can I just say, Peter, that creating moments like this, I think, are absolutely fundamental to how we're going to get through this. You know, bringing people together. You know, me sitting here we're all kind of looking at pages and pages of the faces of strangers is beautiful, and I just think things like this are actually what is going to get us through. Actually, is that just being positive together, recognizing the fact that we all have heightened anxiety at the moment. You know, I mean, I went out for the first time yesterday, and it was very unsettling. It was like Christmas kind of 1985 when nothing was open and nobody was around, but it was eerily quiet and very unsettling. So I think my anxiety level kind of went up, and I see myself as somebody who has kind of anxiety and kind of the normal range, I suppose, really the mid range. I'm not somebody who thank God suffers with anxiety, but for me, even when I came in, it was almost like being safe at home again. You know, it was the strangest feeling. So I think just recognizing the fact that we all have heightened anxiety at the moment, we all feel a bit out of control, we all feel a bit lost and a bit uncertain, and you know, just recognizing that, I think is just such a positive thing to do. You know.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to take a quick photo of people's faces, but I am aware that I need to ask for your consent to take your photo. So if you don't want to take a photo, feel free to exit your screen. Otherwise, do your hair, put your lipstick on, Marsha. That'd be amazing. And then we'll kind of say hi. So 3, 2, 1.
Marsha's always got her lipstick on.
So we're gonna go for. I'm gonna post that out later. But okay, I'm gone. I've got less than a minute, so I'm gonna say thank you so much. Log yourselves out. Take care. God bless, and bye now. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bless you all. Take care.
It's so strange seeing everybody go.
It is. It's a It's a
strange thing.